So welcome back to the final case for this week of Favorite Friday. Today's case, this case actually took so long for me to research. It's the late 90s because this case happened in 1995. The woman that is technically orchestrating this murder, she currently is the only woman on Tennessee's death row, and apparently was like the youngest to be sentenced in the United States, at least to death row at the time. So, with that being said, let's go and get started.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So apparently, before Killer was even born, like while she was technically in the womb, so while she was still a fetus, her mother apparently was drinking a lot, which, as you know, that causes fetal alcohol syndrome, which, you know, that's not good for a child. And so our killer was our main killer. Christa Pike was born on March 10th, 1976, prematurely. Mother was an alcoholic, like I said. Dad, we knew who the dad was, but he really didn't want to be in the picture. That's where she gets her last name from, is from him. Mom and dad would split eventually. She basically would go get raised by her grandmother, who was said to be a religious woman. However, the boyfriends that she had, they apparently had violated Christa, sadly. There's one report saying it happened when she was 9. There's another report saying it happened when she was in diapers. There's sources saying it happened at least 3 times to her. Regardless of how many times it happened to her, if at all, that's obviously very tragic. So then grandmother's pretty much taking care of her for like the majority of her childhood until grandmother dies of cancer when she's like 12. So then she's so devastated by the loss of her grandmother, she then attempts suicide, apparently by overdosing on Tylenol. How that was going to work, I don't even know. But of course, she survived. Otherwise, she wouldn't know what she did. And so, of course, with this, she would have to go back to live with her mother, which she obviously did not like. She obviously preferred her grandmother for whatever reason. And her mother basically used weed as a way to basically be friends with her instead of I guess trying to get closer with her. And so Christa would wind up dropping out in her freshman year, so 9th grade. At 18, she would join this jobs corps thing at the University of Knoxville, and that pretty much was the thing where at risk and low risk teenagers, I think it's 16 to 24, you could better your life, and these courses will help you basically get the equivalent of a high school diploma, and you can get good careers out of it. So Christa joins. While there, she meets a guy named Tadero Ship, who he's very important to the story as well. Christa was there to be a nursing assistant, and Tadero was there apparently for agricultural. So a lot less is known about Tadero, but what is known is that he apparently was raised in a poor neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee, and single parent. He was frustrated that his father wasn't in his life, which is understandable. And so apparently he had joined a gang when he was in his adolescent years, and apparently started being involved in Satanism when he was as young as 11. So he was into Satanism and apparently introduced Christa to Satanism. And so she, of course, somehow got intrigued, and so now they're just doing Satanism together. And so things were apparently going good in their relationship. Well, as good as you could get if you're practicing Satanism. And then Christa apparently got intimidated by this girl named Colleen. And so Colleen Ann Slimmer was born on September 20th, 1975 in apparently Pennsylvania. But at one point she did move to Jacksonville, Florida. But apparently there was no nearby job corps. So she applied for the one in Knoxville and got accepted. So Knoxville is where the story is going to take place. So then she, of course, we're going to call her Pike because her first name is just not doing it. So Pike basically thought that Colleen was trying to steal Tadero because, for whatever reason, her friends would, of course, later deny this. But by that point, it was sadly too late. So then, of course, it gets to the point to where Pike apparently is making Colleen want to leave because she's being mean to her, and apparently even came to her dorm room and apparently was standing over her while she was asleep. So then, of course, she's calling her mom. She's like, I want to go home. And her mom, May, her mother's name is May. Her mother's May is well, you signed a contract, so you can't, but, finish this semester out. We'll see what we can do. So she's like, okay. So then, sadly, on the fateful day of January 12th, 1995, Pike basically makes this false peace offering to Colleen, saying, hey, if we go smoke some weed together, then that's our peace offering to let bygones be bygones. And then Colleen apparently told her mother that she was going to go to Blockbuster with a friend because she also was going to tell her mom that she was smoking weed. It's Colleen, Pike, Tadero, and this girl named Shadala Peterson. And so Shadala is obviously friends with Pike and Tadero. And so I guess Colleen felt better if it wasn't just her and Christa. But of course, she obviously did not know it was about to await for her that night. So of course, they walked to this nearby steam mill that's away from campus. However, before they even leave campus, apparently you have to sign out and then sign back in whenever you return. And so of course they're leaving as a group, so they're all going to sign out together. So remember, all four of them sign out together, and so they leave to go to the steam mill. They go to somewhere, apparently it's like a 15-20 minute walk, and it's isolated. And apparently there's a reason why we're going somewhere like remote, isolated area. So Colleen eventually asks, like is there actually weed? And then at that point, they start attacking her, because at that point she's catching on, like, there's no weed, this is a setup. So by that point, Pike's having her, like, take her shirt and bra off, apparently. And so she does so, because there's like three of them and one of her, so obviously you imagine she's terrified. And so somehow, okay, so basically Shadala was lookout, and it was really like Tadero and Pike attacking her, at least according to what they're saying. And so Colleen was somehow able to get up twice, but she was pushed back down both times. At one point, she had threatened to get them kicked out of the job course if they keep on doing what they're doing. Of course, that doesn't work. So they said, okay, well, if you stop, I will go back to Florida. Like, I literally will walk back to Florida from Tennessee and not even get my stuff inside the door if you let me live. So at that point, they're like, well, we can't do that because, well, we had already did some damage, which at that point is believed they already had done some damage. And so Christa, she pulls out a box cutter, and apparently other sources are saying a meat cleaver, so maybe both, but most sources are saying box cutter. So she pulls out the box cutter and basically slashes, doesn't even stab, she slashes Colleen over 300 times. A pentagram, which is obviously, you study Satanism, or you know anything about Satanism, obviously the pentagram is kind of like a signal, the symbol of Satanism. And so they basically carved this pentagram into her stomach and forehead. A loose piece of asphalt is grabbed by Christa. She then takes this loose piece of asphalt and then smacks it across Colleen's head, and apparently about 5 times, and then at that point, apparently Colleen finally dies. And so Christa would wind up taking a piece of Colleen's skull as evidence, because when she hit her with the asphalt, that obviously broke a piece of her skull off. So she took the broken piece, I guess one of the broken pieces that fell off of her skull. And so then they go to a nearby gas station, wash off the evidence, and throw away the murder weapon. So the 3 obviously return without Colleen. Remember, 4 signed out, only 3 come back. And so Colleen was actually, not Colleen, Christa was actually said to be really happy, like just like dancing and smiling. And then the next morning, apparently was bragging about the classmates, and apparently even showing off a piece of Colleen's skull. Then of course when they didn't see Colleen, like no one had heard from Colleen, they also had started to believe Christa. And then around 8 a.m. the next day, so it's now Friday the 13th, they found an employee, one source, and then you got other sources saying a jogger found the body. Basically, somebody found the body, the police are called, Christa shows up on the crime scene. It's now a crime scene because the police are there, and she's now trying to show a group of friends the body, and she's like all happy and giddy and asking like, do you have any suspects yet? And it's noted that she's wearing a pentagram necklace, and remember, the pentagram is on Colleen's body. So of course all 3 of them are arrested within 36 hours. The police would go to the gas station and somehow find the IDs before like the trash is changed, so that's good. Bloody jeans were found in Christa's dorm room. A satanic Bible was found in Tadero's dorm room. The piece of Colleen's skull that Christa did take, it was left in a jacket in the counselor's office. So I guess the counselor was just out that weekend, and then he just, yeah. And so Christa apparently even went back to the crime scene and helped reenact the murder for the police, so that way they understood basically what happened. And so we get to sentencing Shadala, because she basically, she claimed she was on the lookout, and that was it, and she helped kind of dispose of the body. She got 460 days in jail and 6 years probation for basically testifying and being an informant against Tadero and Christa. Tadero got life with parole after like 20 or 25 years, because he was a minor. Had he been an adult, he would have got the death penalty. Christa, of course, being 18, she was eligible for the death penalty because she was an adult. So apparently, sadly, as part of evidence, Colleen, of course, does get buried. However, her mother, May, was under the impression that all of her was buried. Apparently, her entire head, the part of the stomach where the pentagram was cut out of, and her genitals are currently stored in evidence. And her mother did not find out about it until a year after she was buried. So Christa wrote a letter to Daryl. That's supposed to be for Daryl, but it got intercepted because apparently the guard she gave it to the assistant district attorney, who read it out loud at her sentencing, and apparently had 25 years added along to her death penalty. So she's definitely not getting out. And so on August 24th, 2001, Christa almost actually killed a second person. She actually almost killed an inmate named Patricia Jones, who Patricia was actually in jail apparently for killing a 84-year-old man. I don't know, I think, yeah, basically like an 84-year-old person. And apparently this was to protect Natasha Corbett, who apparently was in jail for killing a family of Jehovah's Witnesses back in 1997 with a group of her teenage friends. Apparently the three of them were in jail, like in a cell together, pretty much because there was a fire in the building and somehow they got put together. And then Patricia was pretty much like making fun of Christa, like calling her fried chicken and doing sizzling sounds, because obviously Tennessee death row is like the electric chair, so she basically saying she's gonna fry when she does get into the chair. I guess Christa was tired of her, like Patricia making fun of her, and then apparently the only reason this was revealed was because she apparently was bragging about it on the phone with her mother, and obviously those jail calls are obviously recorded. So, in 2012, there was apparently an attempted jailbreak with her, another inmate, and a correctional officer. The correctional officer was never charged, but he was obviously fired from his job. What happens to the inmate, I don't even know. Apparently, while still in death row, because I found this picture on Twitter, so I don't even know if it's verified to be her or not. Apparently, you can buy a painting that Christa did with, apparently, it has her breast and her hands, and there's like a meshes on the side. And so here's a picture of that. And so yeah, that was a case of Christa Pike. Of course, I know there are probably longer videos on YouTube, so why this video is so short compared to those? Ask them. I don't know. No shade to them, of course, but it's just, I go ahead and get to the story because I know that's how most people like it. And so, of course, that's it for this week's Cases of Favorite Friday. I hope you liked them. Give me, of course, any case recommendations you can think of, and I will see you all next week. Bye.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares. See me right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. Got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test. I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares. See me right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion. Even though I offer all of the solutions, I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt, never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm, I can feel the sweat inside my palm. Play with me like cats and a string, you don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings, you don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead,